Hi, I'm firearms attorney Gilbert Ambler, and today we are back with some exciting updates regarding the federal gun rights restoration process. And as you probably are aware, if you're not aware, we'll link to a video we did back over the summer of 2025 discussing this. There is a new old process that allows individuals to federally restore gun rights under 18 USC 925C. And I say new old because the process has been around for years. For years it was defunded. It now is heading back towards being a operable way that you could federally restore gun rights. And so, as I said, we did a prior video describing what this process looks like. Today, we want to provide you some updates on when we think this is going to go into effect. We also want to talk about three types of individuals who have had their rights affected, who this rule will really have a major impact on. Three types of folks who have lost their gun rights that I think this rule will be most helpful to. And then I also want to talk about a couple of reasons why you might want to consider moving forwards with federal restoration now as opposed to potentially waiting for later. However, as always, if you have not yet hit that subscribe button, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe, like, comment with your thoughts, and share with your friends. That way you and your friends can keep getting this important Second Amendment related content. All right, now the news everyone's sort of been waiting for, an exciting update. I had an associate from my law firm out at SHOT Show in Las Vegas. SHOT Show is one of the largest industry events. ATF was out there, and ATF held a town hall. My associate attended that town hall and reported to me that ATF announced in the town hall that while they had intended to have this final rule that allowed gun rights restorations to move forwards under 18 USC 925C, they had intended to have it completed prior to the end of January and prior to SHOT Show. They were delayed because of government shutdowns, and the new anticipated release date is early March, which means as of the date of filming this video, in mid-February 2026, we are roughly potentially 2 weeks to 3 weeks out from seeing the final rule and an operable path forwards where filings will begin to be accepted to federally restore individuals' gun rights. So that's very exciting. I know there's a lot of people, many of whom have already hired our firm to help on these processes, that are going to be excited to actually see that door open and processes and see the applications being submitted and being processed. So let's talk about three types of individuals that this rule is going to be most helpful to. The first type of individual who this rule is going to be most helpful to is someone who has been convicted of a federal felony. And the reason this is going to be very helpful if you were convicted of a federal felony is that if you've been federally convicted, a state cannot restore your gun rights. It doesn't matter if you live in a state that has their own state-based restoration process. If you've been federally convicted, the state can't help you, and that is due to the supremacy clause. Even if the state were to say, we're giving you back your gun rights, they legally cannot restore rights from the federal felony. The best the state can do is promise not to prosecute you at the state level, but there would always be a risk of federal prosecution. Now, prior to this rule reopening, the only realistic avenue for folks who had been federally convicted was to apply for a presidential pardon. And of course, those were few and far between, not easy to come by. I've only encountered a couple of individuals who have ever obtained a presidential pardon in my career. So the reopening of the door to get a federal rights restoration through the Department of Justice will be a welcome relief for anybody who's been federally convicted. Notably, the most common category we've been talking to is people that have been federally convicted of drug distribution-related offenses. The feds convict an awful lot of people for drug distribution. If you've been federally convicted for a drug distribution charge, specifically, the new proposed rule that we anticipate in very short order becoming a final rule has a 10-year look-back window. So they say 10 years from the date of conviction or release from supervision, you would be presumptively eligible to restore your gun rights under the federal rule. So that's category number one, is those that have been federally convicted. Category number two is people that have been convicted of a state-based felony or a state-based qualifying misdemeanor that is punishable by over 2 years. This gets confusing, but if you have been convicted of a misdemeanor crime of any type that is a state-based misdemeanor punishable by over 2 years, gets treated the same as a state-based felony. And for the ease of this conversation, I'm going to lump all those crimes in together and call them state-based felonies. If you've been convicted of a state-based felony in a state that does not provide a great path towards restoring gun rights, or an easy or accomplishable path to restore your gun rights, then this rule could also help you. And notably, there's really two avenues to restore gun rights if you have been convicted of a state-based felony. The first would be if your state has a restoration of rights program, a expungement program that the federal government will actually recognize. And I say that because there are some expungement programs that the federal government doesn't recognize. If they've got a process to set aside or a process to pardon. So there are potentially ways that the state could restore your gun rights that the federal government would recognize. Again, that's only if you've been convicted of a state-based felony. And the reason for this, if you were convicted of a state-based felony, in most states, that will trigger a state-based ban on your ability to possess firearms, and it would automatically trigger a federal ban on your ability to possess firearms. But the definition of those that are prohibited from possessing firearms, and that's found in 18 U.S.C. 921, the definition excludes individuals that have been convicted of a state-based felony and the state that convicted them restored their gun rights in a manner that the federal government recognizes. So lots of states, including Virginia, for example, have a procedure in which if you've been convicted of a state-based felony, you can apply to have the state restore your gun rights. And if that is done effectively, the federal government would automatically recognize it and you don't need federal restoration. The problem is there's lots of folks that live in states that don't have a process to restore their gun rights from a state-based conviction, like Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania does not have a good process. Sure, we've got pardons, we've got expungements in Pennsylvania once you reach the age of 70 if you meet other qualifications, but it's not an easy process. So once again, federal restoration might be a much easier process if you've been convicted of a felony in a state like Pennsylvania that doesn't have an easy path forward at the state level. The third category of individuals that I think the federal rule is really going to help is going to be those that have been convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence. And the reason that this rule will really help folks that have been convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence is because the vast majority of states out there do not have a process to help restore rights from those convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence, at least not in a way that the federal government would recognize. And of course, if the federal government doesn't recognize the restoration, you can't go into a gun store and buy a firearm. You can't legally possess a firearm because in all 50 states you'll be prohibited if the federal government thinks you're prohibited. So if you've been convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence in a state that doesn't have a way to effectively restore that right, a viable expungement procedure, for example, then this rule will also help you. For example, those in Virginia, although we've got, and it sounds silly, but in Virginia, if you're convicted of a felony crime at the state level, it's relatively easy to go into state court and restore gun rights. But if you're convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence, there is no state-based restoration process that could occur in state court, for example, to restore your rights. So you'd be very limited. What this federal restoration would do is allow you to federally restore those rights from a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence. And now I want to talk about 3 reasons why I think I'll come up with 3, why I think you should pursue this restoration sooner rather than later. The first one's a biggie, and that is that although this 925C process has been on the books for years, it has been defunded by the federal government since 1992. It's only under President Trump that they are refunding, and essentially there's a procedure that they're doing this by removing authority to the ATF and placing it under the Attorney General to process these, but they're refunding this process. Well, President Trump's giving it back. A future administration could take it away. So if you're eligible for the federal restoration, one reason I think you should pursue it immediately is you don't know what a future administration might do. A future administration might do what they've done since 1992 and shut it back down and defund it all. So I think it makes sense to move forwards, if you're eligible now, to get it done now. Second reason you should think about doing this now is the fees that they're talking about. The fees in the proposed rule are only $20 processing fees. Now, certainly you're going to have lots of other fees. There's an intensive document gathering effort that's going to be needed under the federal restoration. If you go through an attorney, which probably makes sense, an attorney can help you make sure you actually comply with the rule and get everything and package it nicely. There's going to be attorney fees. There's going to be fingerprint fees. There's going to be all sorts of other fees. But the cost for the application itself that they're talking about is pretty low at $20. A future administration could, because that's not law, that's set by essentially the federal government taking executive action, they can bump that way up. So a future administration might say, we're going to leave the process intact. You can still do it, but we're going to make it a $5,000 application fee. They could do that. So I think it makes sense to take advantage of it while the processing fee itself is relatively low. As I said, it's not going to be a cheap process. You're going to have all those other fees, with getting all the documents from your probation officers and court documents and sentencing documents and all the things that you need to actually comply with the rule. Again, if you don't know about that, link to the last videos that we did on this subject is in the comments. But the application fee itself, not that expensive, at least not what they have proposed in the proposed rule, and I don't think the final rule is likely to deviate from that. Final reason I think you should probably think about pursuing this sooner rather than later. The proposed rule says that they anticipate over 1 million individuals will apply in the first year alone for federal restoration. The proposed rule also does not have a time frame for how long it will take them to process these restorations. Now, that might be something that they fix in the final rule. They might say, we'll get these applications processed within 45 days. However, and again, we anticipate that final rule coming out hopefully in March of 2026. However, if they don't fix that and they leave it an unlimited amount of time for them to process applications, and 1 million applications are going in, you will receive restoration sooner, presumably, if you are sooner in line. So I think by not waiting and not being number 1 million applying this year, instead being number 70,000 applying, you are very likely to receive restoration sooner. And that's the final reason I'm going to give you today on why I think you should not delay and you should move forwards. If you are interested in pursuing this restoration process, you can reach, and you want an attorney to help you, you can reach our office at 540-550-4236. Again, that's 540-550-4236, or check out our website, amblerlawoffices.com. That will link you. You can go to the gun rights restoration section. That will link you to our federal restoration page, and you can submit information about yourself if you want to talk with an attorney and get a consultation. There is a small consultation fee when we do these consultations of $50, but it will allow you to talk to an attorney and get some advice on what this process looks like and what documentation, what you would have to put together, and whether you would be presumptively eligible or presumptively ineligible. If you enjoyed this content, go ahead, hit that subscribe button for us. Until next time.